Welcome to the Inspiration Station hosted by Joshua Lenox, the place to fill up your tank if you're in need of encouragement and motivation.
Well, hello, y'all. Here we are again. It is Friday, y'all. And you know what? May the 23rd, whether we are at the Inspiration Station here with Joshua Lenox, where we do what, y'all? We upsize in 2025. And I'm going to always say this. I hope y'all are saying that over and over again in your lives. I'm not saying that for my health. Y'all need to be practicing that and affirming yourself with that we're upsizing all day, every day in 2025. Welcome to everybody. I just want to say I hope that everyone has had an amazing day so far. We still got time in the day, so it's not over. So even if some things have been a little challenging today, you still got time to turn those things around. So welcome once, welcome twice, welcome all, wherever you're watching all over this world, whether you're watching in this morning time, it's afternoon, it's evening, it's late in the midnight hour, you watching. So I want to say hello to everybody on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, LinkedIn Live. Is there something I'm missing? Yeah, YouTube Live. Also, for those who will be listening on the on Spotify, on Apple, on Amazon, on Audible, all of y'all, just want to say hello to you all and welcome. And also thank you all for doing your due diligence. I'll see y'all sharing, y'all showing out, because I know a lot of times when I see the viewers in here, is so many, especially on Facebook, that are watching live, and I appreciate that. But I also have seen a great amount of sharing and viewers that have increased tremendously, y'all, on Facebook. So I want to say just thank you for that. Thank you for believing in what we're doing here and what we're continuing to do, because guess what? You are a part of this too. So even right now, as you're hearing me, make sure you share as much as possible. I don't care if you need to send it to everybody in your phone, and if they have a problem with it, you just point them to me. I have no problem making house calls or anything else. But anyway, no, let's make sure we share as much as possible, because we want to make sure we're spreading out as much encouragement, motivation, as inspiration as we can. If this is your first time, welcome. This will not be your last. And for you all who continue to rock it out with the Inspiration Station so far, hello. We're going to kind of get started right away, you guys. And again, I hope that everybody has had an amazing day. Also, if you're traveling or anything of that nature, that you have a safe weekend. I know it's Memorial Day coming up. Some of y'all are off on Monday. Some of y'all are off today. I will be working on Monday. I'm not sour. I'm not jealous. I'm not hating. Maybe a little bit, but okay. Hope that everybody has a great time this weekend with your family, friends, or anything of that nature, as we do honor those whose lives, who's sacrificed their lives for the country and are no longer here. So without further ado, what is the Inspiration Station? Can somebody tell me? Because I don't think I remember, but I think it's slowly but surely coming to me. But what is the Inspiration Station? Again, that name literally comes from someone giving me that nickname in 2012. They literally told me that they felt like I was like a radio station. They said, "You're the Inspiration Station, like a radio station that sends out all of these signals and frequencies that people need. Like, you know exactly what people need." And again, I thought that was literally just fluff. I was like, "Oh, okay, nice. Sounds nice." So got a little ring to it. But to be honest, here we are, years later, 13 years later to be exact, and we're utilizing it in this way. And also, the Inspiration Station is not just Josh. It's not just about Josh, but it's you. You are greatly an inspiration to many in your lives, people also that you would never even know, people you've never even met, or probably not even realize that you're touching their lives or inspiring them. And you're also an inspiration to yourself. It's because if you reflect over your life, there are plenty of things you can pull from to keep you going, keep you moving, keep you striving, keep you fighting forward to the things that are inside of you, or the things that you're supposed to be doing while you're here on earth. Again, what do we expect here? I mean, what do we do here? Again, just because you're hearing me, or you're hearing people who are coming on here offering inspiration, we're not just dropping nuggets and things just for you to hear it and sit on it and, that was good. Oh, girl, that was good. Man, did you hear what they just said? No, we want to make sure we're utilizing what we hear to produce movement, to produce us to do things, to become things, to put action to what we're hearing. Also, this is a platform, as y'all are already seeing. I told y'all people are going to start coming in here. I got some wonderful people who I'm going to be interviewing, and this is going to be continuous. They're going to be coming on here to inspire you with their lives, and also introduce you to people, again, that you may have never even heard of, but you're going to know them sooner than later. Are also people that you have been heavily influenced by, you may have admired from afar, are, people of great fame or anything of that nature that will be on here opening up their lives to you. So definitely looking forward to that. And also, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. This is actually this the last week almost. This is the second to the last. Next week will be the last week to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month, which I actually think mental health awareness should be year round. It should be something all the time and advocated for. I think this has become a lot more prevalent now since the pandemic, as people have realized, hey, we locked in this house. We locked up. They won't let us out. No, they wouldn't. So you kind of realize you got some things going on with you. So we see the importance of that. And as I'm doing that, I have guests that are coming on that'll be on today, a special guest, and another one next week that will definitely be experts, I like to say, in the mental health field, to be talking to you. And also not just talk about the mental health field, but you get to know a little bit about them. You know, I'm going to be bribing them to tell you their deepest, darkest secrets. Yeah. But without further ado, I said you all, that's right. Y'all pray for me. But we have a wonderful, honorable guest today whom I have known for quite a while, since 2017, actually. She has worked my last nerve ever since then. But no, a wonderful person who is amazing, and you're going to get to see how amazing they are and get to know why I say that and why I've known that since the first day I've met them. So without further ado, we're going to be bringing on in just a second the honorable guest, Monique Rendles, licensed mental health marriage and family therapist, also supervisor plus, but you're going to get to hear all of that right now.
Monique C. Rendles is a seasoned licensed marriage and family therapist and the CEO of For Love Counseling and Consulting PLLC. With nearly a decade of experience in the mental health field, she provides expert care through individual couples and family therapy. In addition to her clinical work, Monique serves as a consultant for Relias LLC, where she reviews educational content to ensure it can meet continuing education standards for marriage and family therapists.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we have Monique Rendles. Hi, Monique.
Hi.
Y'all, I turn into a little kid sometimes because she is the connoisseur of a big sister. So you might see a lot of that dynamic even as we're talking tonight. She is definitely a big sister, and I am definitely a little brother anytime we're talking or in the presence of one another. So she's not afraid to pull that out in a minute. So, but welcome, Monique. How are we doing on today?
I'm here. I'm here.
What
But
does
in a
that mean?
good way. Listen, when I tell my clients that, I get the same reaction. Is that good or bad? I probably need to find another phrase, but it means I'm here, which is a blessing. So I'm here.
Well, we're going to take that because it sure is a blessing, because I'm glad to see you, and I'm sure everybody is glad to hear you, and also that are watching, glad to see you as well. Well, first of all, how has the day been? Before we jump in, before I start picking at you, how has the day been?
It's okay if you pick. It's been very busy doing some shifting in my business, but it's been busy and productive. No, productive. It's been a very productive day today. So it's a good thing.
I like that. I saw how you really quickly reframe that, because it's like, wait a minute, I'm not, because you can be busy doing nothing, but I also like to say sometimes you can be productively busy, because if I'm productively busy, maybe my time is very much well spent because there are things that I'm getting done, I'm taking care of. So I'll give you that one for free, Monique. Productively busy.
Let me write that down. Hold on just a
Do
second.
that. You get a notepad, okay? $10 to send. You know my yeah, okay. So well, first of all, let me say this to you guys before we jump in. I just want to say I've known Monique since 2017. We met when I was a little old intern, wet behind the ears, and she was actually getting her associate. She was wrapping that up. It was, I mean, literally about to finish that out, finishing so many hours. We're not even going to name that because she might get a flashback. But right. Somebody who was working so hard, and she was so instrumental in my growth as an intern and being molded into a counselor. She used to be hard on herself. And I'm like, do you know all the stuff you dropping on me? And she just, it's like it would go over her head. I'm like, do you realize how you helping me? But somebody who's always been so giving, loving, kind, compassionate. She definitely is in the field that she was supposed to be in. And if you all heard me before she came on, I was about to say licensed mental health counselor or whatever. And I'm like, no. She's an LMFT, but it's almost like the way she was trained in things, she got both. All in all, what could be other than a specialization with marriage and family, she got both and then some. So, without further ado, I would like to say, is there anything extra you want to add other than the eloquent biography that we had of you? Is there anything extra that we need to know about Monique before diving into her brain for a second?
Nothing much. Just a mother, wife, mother of 4 wonderful adult or what I call free range children.
Right, right,
They're
right.
ranging all over America, but 4 adult children and 1 wonderful husband, 2 adult free range host children, and
Mhm.
yeah, a student um, trying to just expand my niche and my reach and letting God use me wherever He sees fit.
Now, see, we're not gonna have church this quick, but yes. And let me add something about Monique that she didn't say. Of course, with aside from her definitely being a licensed clinician, she definitely is a wonderful supervisor as well. Let me tell you about one of the things that I saw for myself. She always has been a person who wants to pour back. In what she's done, she wants to pour back into the next that comes after, which is something that all of us should be doing. But seeing her do that now, knowing that, and she didn't just start doing this, she was doing it even before she was actual supervisor. She was over the student internship program where we were at a private practice. And again, I watched she has an education background, definitely of several years. So that was another thing instrumental. And let me say this, sometimes when we're and I said it last week, but you don't just wake up saying I want to be a counselor or a
Mhm,
therapist. It's a calling. It's something that has to call out to you, because it's not really something, as I'm sure she could agree, you
mhm.
don't sign up and say, oh yeah, I want to do that, definitely.
Yes.
But in the same vein of that, you realize you have other skill sets that you've had time in, whether there have been other career paths or fields that you've been in, or even job experiences you have, all the things that you do leading up to certain career fields or whatever you're doing, it literally works together. You end up using those same things and those same tools. I used to get to see in rooms where she would utilize the teacher will come out so quickly in what she was doing. But that's also a segue into counseling and things like that, because you definitely are an educator of all sorts. So anything you want to add before I jump in? I know I just kind of ran over. I mean,
No, that's it. I am an educator at heart. I don't know if you can see, I got a little plaque somewhere in this room that says teacher, because at the core of it, I'm a teacher.
mhm.
So, and I will always be.
Yes, yes. And y'all, that's not just in the professional field. She will come right down your lane personally too. I'm a witness. But we'll get started really quick. But Monique, I want to first ask you, what does mental health awareness mean to you?
Well, to me, mental health is basically knowing the importance of mental health and letting people know the importance of taking care of their mental being, right? So
Mhm,
everyone knows about, we go to the doctor automatically for anything physical, but for
mhm,
some reason, mental health does not get the same respect. Uh,
mhm,
but mental health is an opportunity to kind of tap into God's healing at another level and restoration. I always think about the scripture that talks about renewing our mind, and that is part of
mhm.
mental health. You know,
Yes.
approximately, I think 23% of adult population, according to SAMHSA in 2023, had a
Mhm,
mental health and illness. So that's a lot of people, right?
mhm,
And so it is important to realize that mental health is your opportunity to focus on you. I
mhm,
always say that mental health allows you to be selfish, to think about yourself. When you go into the therapy room or mental health therapy
mhm,
allows you to talk about yourself. You shouldn't have to share that room. That's your space, right? It's a
mhm,
safe space for you to take care of your mental health and just become whole, right?
mhm.
So you're a tripartite being. You take care of your body, take care of your spirit, but take care of your mind as well.
Sure, sure. Well, listen, okay, you just coming in, you choosing violence. It's okay. So let me say this too. I want to go back to one point. I think absolutely an amazing points you made. There are multiple things, and one of the things that stood out to me is you saying I would say to be selfish. And sometimes we hear selfish, it's like that's negative. You can't be selfish. Now, there's two different things when we think about that. There's a healthy selfishness and there's an unhealthy selfishness. Unhealthy is like, oh, it's just me, and forget everybody else. It's all about me. It's just centered around me. This is just all consuming
Right.
of just myself. However, there's a healthy selfishness, meaning that I'm regarding myself first. It's not that I'm disregarding anyone else. I have to regard me first. Take care of me first. We hear it and it sounds like a cliche sometimes of saying, oh, yeah, well, if you know good for yourself, you know good to nobody. That's great. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be connected to other people in
Mhm.
order for me to know that I need to zone in or fully focus on me.
Right,
So,
right. So the think about, and I know people use this analogy a lot about the plane. If things are going down, you need to put the air on yourself first. Put that mask on yourself first.
yeah.
Take care of you. Love your neighbors as you love yourself. So if you don't
Mhm.
know how to love yourself correctly, you are not going to know how to love others correctly.
Mm.
So it's important to take care of yourself. Not like you said, not in a selfish way, like conceited, narcissistic way, but in a way that is very balanced.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm telling you, after I started to hum because I was about to, so I feel like we finna say a hymnal or something. Right, 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 right. But okay, next thing I want to ask you too is along the lines of that we're speaking about, literally thinking about the importance of mental health awareness and people having knowledge and insight of knowing what that really is for themselves.
Mhm.
Uh, what led you to the mental health field?
Oh, that's a long story that I'm gonna try to make short,
Well,
but
no, you're gonna have to. No, we're not doing that long. This ain't no. This is not autobiography of Jane
that
Pittman or
is
something.
something, okay? So, 17 years, I was a special ed teacher, right?
Yes.
And I remember my pastor was doing sermons on finding your purpose.
Hmm.
And so I was praying and asking God, what is my purpose? What should I be doing? And it came to my mind that Monique means advisor counselor. So I was like, well, what is that? What am I going to do with that? I never thought about counseling. What is that? And went
Hmm.
to a retreat where I couldn't have my phone, couldn't have any of our devices, and was in a room and women were crying and weeping. And I had a journal and I just heard in my spirit, just start writing. And I heard, I'm sending you out for this. This is what I want you to do. I want you to help heal the pain of, it wasn't trauma at the time of, it was heal the pain, heal the wound. It was crying like you hear when someone died in the room. It was just very awkward. But that is what led me to the mental health field. I had no idea what that meant until I started down the journey. And so it became my calling. That's what led me to it. 'Cause everyone's like, what are you doing? You're working for DODEA, Department of Defense Education Activities that, you know, everyone wants to get into. And but yeah, it was like I gotta leave. I gotta go. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I left teaching, which I still love,
Yeah.
as you know, um,
Yes.
to do this. So it's a calling. That's what led me to the mental health field.
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to say to go back to what you're saying. I think if you all are, as you all are listening and also are tuning in, to think about what the things she said. I consult. It's like she consulted God on what she was supposed to do. What am I doing with this, and where is this coming? And also, God, I need clarity because what are you talking
Mhm.
about? What do you mean specifically with this? And also, how when God does speak. He's not an author of confusion. He's very clear, but at the same time, that doesn't mean he's going to give you all the specifics and details right at once. So it's like, can I say yes when I don't know really what this means? And as you said, Monique, you started to when you were. It's almost like the more you started to consult him, pray about it, certain things started to unravel. But even the full picture wasn't there. It's just like, okay, I know this is something I need to do. So maybe all God needed at this point was my yes. He didn't need so much for me to say, okay, yeah, I'll do it, guys. So what is that going to look like? That's consult the who, not the how and the what. Just you knew the what in a sense, but it's like I don't know the fullness of what that is. But I
Yeah.
want to submit to His will, whatever that is. And I didn't. I'm pretty sure for you, and I'm this is a tangent of this. Did I really see this coming? Did I really even know that this would come
No.
years before? Right.
No. No, no, no. No, yeah, but you're absolutely right, and it is a little because I you keep getting revelation. That's why you have to. I can't remember who I heard say, if it does not cause you to tremble a little bit, the thought of what God is calling you to do, then is it really a calling? If you feel like I got this, I can do this, but every step, as you know, Josh,
Mm-hmm.
I will call you and be like, I feel led to do this. I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm married to a wonderful, godly man who, Doug will call me to the carpet and be like, did you ask God? Did God say? And so I'm always constantly seeking guidance on what do I do with this, Father? What's the next step?
Shout out to Doug Rendles, wonderful Doug Rendles. You know, y'all, let me tell y'all something. She don't play about her husband. She loves her husband. She loves that man. And I've also seen again how much he is as a leader professionally and also as well as personally, especially his family. So I want to say shout out to him. That's extra credit on your behalf, Monique. So yeah, but no. Right. But absolutely, and I almost started laughing just for a second because when you said when you were alone, you know, no phone, you were in solitude in a sense, having to. And so it's like I'm quiet. I thought about Yolanda Adams, alone in a room. It's just me and you. But seriously, sometimes
Let me pull out that song, Josh.
sorry. You know that's how you both of us do that. We'll call a song on everything. But I think that that's important. Sometimes you do have to go away and silence all the noise to really hear clearly about your direction, where you're supposed to go. What am I supposed to do? Lord, what am I supposed to do with this? You telling me this, but I'm unclear. Well, maybe you have to shut down some noise and go away. Jesus went away to pray, you know, to replenish himself, but also to hear from the Father on the next instructions to do. So I think that's important in what you just said, Monique. Also, let me add this. When you think about what you do, and again, you can go in any area you want to do because y'all, she has multiple capacities that she's in now. But I will say this, even with specifically initially or the priority of this is being in mental health, what would you say are some of the greatest rewards in what you do? And whether that be past, present, or present, either way.
Our present, yes. So,
Right.
so two things came to mind when you asked that. One was the ability to be a supervisor. Again, it taps into my teaching, but also the concept of multiply. It took me getting a mentor to be a supervisor who he's a man of God, Dr. Rio Leslie, wonderful man of God. He said, Monique, you're trying to see all these clients one-on-one. He said, but multiply. If you can train others to see trauma and do trauma and hear trauma and be led by the Holy Spirit while they're working through trauma with other people, you're multiplying the effects. So that is the greatest reward, being able to train interns to be able to see trauma in a way that is not just work, but it's an ability to be used to heal, to allow people to heal. That is one of the rewards. And another reward is sitting in a room. And then I know you have experienced this when you know the Holy Spirit has stepped into the room.
Yes.
You're not doing it. You're like, Lord, first of all, where did that come from? Because I know I didn't think about that. Where did that come from? When
I know you lying.
right. But then to hear the revelation come forth and to see people that when they came in your office, they were suicidal, and now they're helping other people. And you know, I had one client that said, you know, I'm working with these people. My supervisor's like, oh my gosh. She said, no. You see this person, right? You see me now. But if you had saw me 8 years ago,
What?
you didn't know. So to see God heal people to the point where he's using people to heal other people as well, such a reward because you know, you just feel like you're being used for a true purpose, right? You're changing the world. You're being allowed to be used to change the world. Maybe that's a better way of putting
Yeah.
it.
Wonderful points. And while you were talking, I was trying to, that's why I kind of paused for just a second, because while you were talking, I'm thinking about the disciples, you know, in the Bible. And again, also like Jesus said before, he said, greater works will you do, you know? So again, we have the ability, you have the ability to literally be you. And let me say this too, Monique, and you follow me with this, y'all. Y'all stay with us now. But I remember being told, it was prophesied to me one time when I was younger. They said, you're going to be a healer. I was like, what? I was like, I am not going to be a doctor. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to, what are you talking about? And not knowing, you know, again, healing can come through so many different avenues that depend upon how the Lord wants to use you. He can use anything to bring healing. And to know the path of like what you're doing, what you're speaking about. Also, you create disciples in a sense, training them up to go out, and then also they can further take what you take the baton of what you're giving them, and they can further it, and they can even go beyond. I think that's something I thought about when you were saying that, because again, you get to multiply as you were saying, your mentor told you, you know, you get to multiply. So it's like you kind of get to pour into multiple people to go out and be even more voices, and it spreads more, and it just continues to be almost like a snowball effect. I think that's what I
Right,
kind of felt
right.
like.
Yeah. You spoke of that healing, and I remember one of my classes, I learned a definition of healing.
Hmm.
One of the translation is trauma of wound. Sorry, is trauma,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Whoa, that'll preach, right?"
It will.
That speaks to mental health healing. When people hear healing, what do they think of? The
Hmm.
body, right?
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
body. They don't think of the mind, and so um, that was just so powerful when you said, being used to be healed by God. To heal doesn't mean doctor. Well,
Hmm.
you go back get your doctorate. You can come and join me on this.
Oh no! Mm-mm. See, okay, y'all, the show is over with. We'll talk to y'all the next time. Go ahead.
Come and join me. It's the water's fine, right? But
Yes.
the healing is so much more than just the physical body.
Mhm.
Healing is the mind. We need the mind to heal, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And to flip the coin on that, what would you say have been some of the greatest, maybe the greatest few challenges that you see in what you do?
Oh, I got two words: insurance. Well, insurance and VA referrals.
That's three,
That
Monique.
is it. That's it. Insurance is dealing with insurance, and is just dealing with people expecting people to heal on their timeline.
Yes.
That's frustrating. Some people, they get in, they get out. Some people, they have very complex history. So the greatest challenges is bucking against the system,
Hmm.
insurance and the VA, because I get a lot of vet referrals.
Absolutely. And let me speak to that for just a second. I'm gonna jump back with this. I'm gonna tag team you on this because hearing what Monique just said, ladies and gentlemen, literally, there's several different ways of payment when you are going to counseling. Again, you can pay cash, you can pay, you can pay literally any way you want to. But when it comes to the insurance part, especially depending upon the company or whatever,
Mhm.
disbursements can take forever. And again, as she spoke, sometimes those insurance companies put some level of a timeline on thinking when somebody's probably going to probably this is all they should probably only need 12 sessions or something. It's like, well, no, they it's going to probably be more than that,
Mhm.
but at the same time, this is another part or portion, I'll just say, in the counseling field. I know that definitely needs some work, needs some work, because it makes it hard for a practice. It makes it hard for a owner for the business.
Mhm.
It makes it hard for billing, and also for even a clinician who is looking to get paid sometimes.
Mhm.
And sometimes that can be a very difficult and challenging piece in that. And also with Monique being a business owner and also having her own practice, she's seeing all of these things. So again, those are other added frustrations that can come into play, because again, you're playing almost like a Russian roulette with these insurance companies.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I need to go get some help for that. But yes, it's
Let's pray.
traumatizing for me. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. And that's often not a piece that we often hear about in mental health, as that piece. And I'm glad that you just dropped it and opened up there, because it's like, well, no, tell us about your challenges with your clients. Tell us about your challenges. It's like, no, it might not even be that. The greatest challenge might be the formality of procedures when it
Yeah.
comes to
Yeah.
things like that.
It is not clients, because I really try to meet people where they are.
Mhm.
And as you know, with like transformational change, some people are at the stage where they're ready to be put in action. Some people are not really fully aware that this is an issue. So
Mhm.
if you truly meet people where they are, therapy is, I love what I do. I love it. It's an honor to do it. It's a blessing to be able to walk alongside people as they journey towards healing. So no, that's not a challenge for me. The challenge is outside of the room.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure, sure. And to go back, I'm gonna say this, and before we go to the next question, I think something you just said positively triggered me for something. But
Yes.
you kind of mentioned this. You mentioned this, right. You kind of mentioned this kind of early on, but I was able to sit in with plenty of clients with Monique. We're not gonna talk about how my journey was. Oh Lord, but I had to hurry up and do some things quickly, and it was by the grace of God that I was able to get that many hours in that short amount of time. But she was very instrumental in making sure I had as many clients as I could sit in with her. And some people, I think she was just telling them, look, he's going to sit in with us. But one of the things she said was, we would always say to each other, don't forget to let God in the room. Because sometimes, you're thinking about all the theories and all the things you've learned, and you're trying to get things in because you're trying to you want to do what's best for the client. But then there's a time where you have to, specifically at all times, you make sure that you're out of the way in a sense, and let your intelligence and academia and scholarship go out of the window sometimes, because God he can be using you in a way to where you're bringing something to the service for that client, and you don't even know why. They didn't even say anything. They gave you no inclination of the issues that they're having, but you leave God in the room, and again, it makes it much more conducive for healing and treatment for that client. So it's like you have to, I think with any profession, anything you do, the Bible says to do everything you do everything as if you're doing it unto the Lord. So it's like you want to do it with excellence, but in doing that, you got to make sure you're partnering with Him. So whatever you're doing, you want to make sure He is leading and guiding you in those crooks and crevices that you may be overlooking, because you're human. So I think that was always a great thing you taught me, is to say, we always would say, leave God in the room. And I got to watch in the room with her plenty of times where we'd be sitting there when the client leave, we sitting there like, did that just happen? Huh?
Yes. Well, you said something there. You said about, him being able to pull things maybe the books may not have, right? But at the same time, the knowledge that's in there, there's a saying that wisdom is knowledge applied correctly.
Yes.
You can have all this book knowledge, but it's something about when the Holy Spirit tells you, hey, remember this, or pull something from what you learned,
Yes.
be able to use it correctly, wisely in the room is also important. That's why, to me, the Holy Spirit, because we learn a lot, to be able to do this job. And so, some of it is, it can get layered down further, and the Holy Spirit say, hey, remember when you learned this, use that right now. This will be, applicable. This will be good right now. And
Yes.
you can see some real change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful point. Wonderful point. High five, piggyback off of each other. Bam. Next thing I want to ask you is, what is one short story? One short story. This is where we talk about also on the Inspiration Station, y'all, where this is a place also where we're open, honest, and vulnerable with not just each other, but also with ourselves. Because again, like the word says, that they were overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Sometimes we need to hear each other's stories, because it lights a fire within you, or it gives you encouragement, makes you know that surely if that person had that situation, I'm going to be okay. Or also knowing I can really relate to that. I'm not by myself in this. I'm not losing my mind. I'm not crazy, even though I don't know crazy. Monique, you a little crazy. But anyway, so y'all didn't see that side eye. She was, that's the big sister side eye. But yes, what's one short story you would like to share about yourself that deals with overcoming a huge obstacle that will inspire and encourage others?
Okay. Well, it's funny that you said one short story. That reminds me of the song, we got a song for everything.
Yes,
Music.
we do.
I love you when your hair turns gray, girl. I love you if you gain a little weight. I'm like, well, what if she gained a lot of weight? You still love her? You know,
BZ.
why I gotta be a little weight? But anyway, why I gotta be one short story? Uh, so getting out of the boat is my story, is knowing when you've gotten back in another boat. So like I said, I was a teacher for a while. And so it was getting out of the boat and, trusting God, trusting like Peter, trust Jesus when he told him to get out the boat and walk, right? And so, everyone, what are you doing? Not listening to the noise. That was my first time getting out of the boat. And then where we worked together, that I realized I had gotten back in another boat. I had known from the beginning that God had called me to open my own practice and to do this, the supervision in the way that he has called me to do it. And so leaving there was hard, but it was necessary because I had gotten back into another boat, meaning I had started on this journey of my calling, but then I had sat gently back into a boat that was comfortable. And so I was like, well, what is a boat? Trying to realize when a boat is. A boat is, it's comfort, it feels safe. I'm not dealing with all the elements that are around, because, owning a business, you're stepping on that water, you have all those turmoil happening. So I think for me, it was learning to, be very cognizant of when I'm sitting back in a boat and I'm getting a little bit too comfortable and
Mhm.
stepping out and trusting God to take me to the next level, right? To
Mhm.
take me to really the ultimate goal for my calling, which it's just interesting how he's been laying it out one step at a time.
Hmm. Something I had to hurry up and write down what you said. And first of all, thank you for sharing that with us again, because I think everything that you're speaking about definitely hints to or is linked to faith,
Mm,
having courage,
mm,
the uncertainty and the unknown of things, but knowing this is something I'm supposed to be doing. And again, this is something I've never done before, or have I?
mhm,
Or maybe it's just in a different way to look at it, maybe. And
mhm.
what I wrote down was I said, same boat, different oars. I'm
Mm,
like, I wonder if it was is this a different boat or is this the same boat, but now I have different oars? Maybe this is something now my oars are a lot stronger, or maybe they're bigger because I'm going to have to paddle through greater tides or greater depths of water. So maybe it's the same boat, but he
mhm.
changed my oars and to get me to go in whatever direction because I need something a little stronger. So I wanted to speak to that to me if you can, because I didn't know where it came from. I was like, well, I mean, we know where it came from because it surely was not me. I'm not that smart, but but same boat, different oars. I wonder if that's the could be linked to a part of that of saying
Mm.
I went into a different boat. But it's like, well, wait, it might be the same boat, but now my oars have enlarged or in a way like that.
Yes, yes, and trusting in the boat instead of God, right? So
Mhm, mhm.
that's the one thing. It was hard leaving education after 17 years, but and leaving the place that we were after
Yeah.
being there, because that was a wonderful place, a wonderful
Mhm.
growth experience. But
Right.
yeah, that's stepping out.
Yeah. Oh, and doing it scared because I do remember if I share this as a little brother, I remember the nerves and the shakes. And as I've
Mhm.
said on the podcast a few times, sometimes yeah, it's not supposed to be come with ease or easiness. It's like I might be scared, but the fact that I
Mhm.
have enough courage to say I'm going to do it anyway, that
Mhm.
says more than anything. So I don't need to be hopping around and skipping and like, oh yeah, this is going to be so easy. Well, I don't know if that's what you're supposed to be doing. If it's going to be, if you feel like that. So
Yeah,
it kind of,
you know that saying, right? That courage is not the absence of fear; it's in spite of.
mhm,
Right? So you have fear.
yeah,
You're human, and when
mhm,
we step into something that we really don't have a clear future about, it is very natural to
mhm,
be afraid.
sure,
We like security. We like
mhm,
safety. We like knowing what we're doing. Uh,
mhm.
so it makes sense that you have that fear.
I think, like you're saying, I always say it's the three S's. You have the safety, security, and stability. It's like
Yeah,
I don't want none of them messed with because if those three are messed with, now we're gonna have to okay, God, we got a plan B somewhere, and it's like no, ain't no plan B. It's a plan A, and I need you to
that's it.
right, and that's it. That's it, and that's all.
Mhm.
Ain't no A plus, ain't no A minus. It's just a plan A. So yes, and, along with that, I want to ask you to last question, as far as formal question.
Okay.
Um, looking at who you have become today, Miss Rendles,
Yes.
what are some things you may tend to overlook about yourself professionally and personally? And I'll read that again
Okay.
because I just learned how to read.
Yeah.
Looking at who you have become today, what are some things you may tend to overlook about yourself professionally or personally,
Mhm.
or prefers professionally and personally?
Um, It's interesting because about a year ago, actually, I
Mhm.
I inquired with some of my friends, like, "What is it about me that if you could, take for yourself, you would?" Just it would I was doing I'm always doing something, growth
Yeah.
work, something, right? And one of the things someone said is my passion for my calling and
Mhm.
how if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Mhm.
And I never thought about that. I was like, "Well, of course you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do. That's just something we do."
Mhm.
But I forget that sometimes that I am, no matter, that I'm hard driven. Sometimes it feels very heavy, all the things I'm doing. I can't lie that
Mhm.
you got too much on your plate. Don't put anything else on your plate.
Yeah.
and that's true. I need to be aware of that, but also knowing that, when you're called to these things, it's going to feel heavy sometimes, and that doesn't mean
Mhm.
you lose hope or you feel like you're doing something wrong. So sometimes I have to remember that your calling is not going to be, like you said, easy. It's not going to be immediate. It's going to be a journey, and that I'm an overcomer, and that,
Mhm.
everything Lord, with the grace of God, let me give it to my Father. I've accomplished everything that I have been given to do so far. I know there's more, but so
Mhm.
far I have. So I have to remember that even though it feels hard, that you've overcome so much before, you know,
Mhm.
glory to glory, right? And so I'm like,
Mhm.
to my glory, but every time he got me through one, I can remember saying I would never get a bachelor's degree. I mean, no, sorry, a master's degree.
Mhm.
Bachelor's, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. That's all I need.
So
And
you go.
right, and I'm done. And point blank period, right? I'm done. Um, then I went back and got my master's, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm
Mm.
done. Right. I'm done. And then went back and got my education specialist. Okay, I'm done. And everybody's like, girl, you could have got I'm not getting a doctorate. And here I am now
Yep.
working on the doctorates. And so I just overlook how much I persevere, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because your hands just to the plow. And sometimes you have to stand back and be like, wow, God, look at all the things you've allowed me to accomplish uh,
Yes.
in this thing, right? I don't know if that answered your question, but that's
It
what.
does. If it didn't, I would start you over. I would say, "Okay, again, we're gonna try this again. Let's try this again."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I think everything that you just mentioned is about the importance of reflection.
Look
The
at you,
importance
therapist. Come on now.
I try, it's just, I try my best, but everything that you mentioned
Mhm,
refers back to reflection because it's like I have overcome a lot. I
mhm,
have gone through a great deal of things. There are things that I said I probably would never do or never imagined I would do, and I
mhm,
have. I thought
mhm.
when this is what I thought I was done, God was like, ha ha ha, that's funny. Next, ha ha. And
Yeah.
sometimes how you can be so focused on all of the doing
Mhm,
and all of that, you never sit back to really recognize there's been a lot that I've done.
mhm,
And
mhm,
yes, and of course we know without even having to mention or say that. Of course, I know I couldn't have done none of this without the Lord
mhm. Amen.
always using me. However, it's like I still had to obey and I still had to do this. And so sometimes you overlook this accomplishment and success of it, and you just because you're just okay. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? It's like hold on. Have you even taken a moment to glance at all the things you've done to get to this point? Have you ever taken a moment
Mhm,
to think about how well you've done. And I'll share this really quick, but to your point too, Monique, I think I said it on one of the shows. I said that, I was praying one day and
mhm,
at night and I was asking God, I said, hey, I was like, so how am I doing? Because I want to know, is there something I need to be doing that I'm missing? Is there something I need to improve on? Whatever. And I said, well, God, how do you think I'm doing? And he said, great. And I said,
mhm,
but like, okay, great, but and he literally said, wonderful. Started
mm,
to cry. And I was like, and he told me, you're always looking for me to correct and criticize you, and you never pay attention to how well you're already doing. I
yes,
think to your point of what you're saying, hand
yes.
is always to the plow. You're never really reflecting and saying, it's taken me, it's been a lot to get here, and I've done really well. And it has not been easy by a long shot, but I've stayed determined. I stayed the course. I was not perfect, but I was faithful and I was consistent. So I
Yeah.
think that that's so important what you said. And one other thing before we get ready to close, and that sounds look, sound we in church getting ready to close, Jesus. But I think there's a great component of what you said about things being on your plate.
Mm,
I don't know how this is going to hit you. I don't know how it's going to hit y'all watching or hit you listening, but it's going to hit you somewhere, whether it's in the gut, the throat, somewhere, the ankle, somewhere it's going to hit you. But I was thinking when you were saying that, I started to see different variety of plates. It's like, well, I think there's a time and a place when we have styrofoam plates.
mm,
Then sometimes we have things that are on paper plates. Then there's some stuff we just have on regular plates, nice, nice plates, whatever the kind you can, drop and it probably won't break. But then we have things that are on fine china.
mm.
So it made me think about when you were saying, I know I have a lot on my plate. It's like, but what type of plate are you holding this on? So
Yes.
sometimes it's like, well, if I have a lot on my plate, there may have been a season where I had a lot and it was on styrofoam. It's like, okay, you packing too much because first of all, that thing is flimsy. So you might not want to put too much on
Yeah.
that. So you might need to be a little bit more aware of what's on this because you don't want to drop it. But if
Mhm.
I give you a paper plate, this might have a little bit more durability. This might hold a little bit. It's a little bit more flexible, but it's something that you don't have to worry about spilling something too
Mhm.
easily. But you still have to be mindful. Um, and as we move on to a regular plate, okay, this is a lot more sturdy. This might
Mhm.
even be a little bit bigger. So, I can hold more now on this.
Mhm.
But I don't want to overload myself because some stuff might be, I don't want to pack it too much, keep stacking stuff on top of it. But then if I get fine china, this is something that's been tried to be very strong to hold what I have.
Mhm.
And I can put a multiplicity of things on here. Don't have to worry about it turning.
Mhm.
And I can't put this in the microwave. I have to keep this. I have to keep this special in a special place, and I might even have to put it up sometimes. So again, what kind of plate do I have?
Mhm.
Everybody doesn't have the same level of plate that you have. So it's like, okay, I had a lot on my plate, but what plate do I have? What plate am I holding this stuff that I have right now? Maybe when you were in school, it was certain things that were on paper plate.
Styrofoam.
So, okay, right. But now that I have a multiplicity of things,
Mhm.
this might require me to have something stronger to hold what I have. So
Right. Right.
I
Right.
wanted to just say that. That's what something that popped in,
Yes.
touched me in the face. You see, but no. I want to say before wrapping up, first of all, is there any? First of all, thank you. Y'all clap it up in everywhere on all platforms right now for wonderful. Our honorable guest Monique Rendles, as she has poured even into us and given us so much education, awareness, insight, and wisdom of what it is like to be in not only the mental health field but also business, also supervising, training up the next generation of people.
Mhm.
Also, even if she didn't detail it, managing all the different components of her life. She's not just the professional person. She's also very much so a family oriented person, very much so a wife, very much so mom, a doggy mom too.
Paper pot.
Listen, and that is a human being. I don't care what anybody says. That's a human being.
Yes.
But all of these different components and capacities and spaces. I want to go back to what you said before I ask you if you have any last remarks or words you want to say to anybody, but to all the people out there. But being able to it's not even about the balance of it, but I think it's the priority of it. I think that's why things flow in the way that they do. Is it easy? Is it free from challenge and free from error or obstacles? No, but
Mhm.
being able to prioritize things, as we always say, it's God first, then
Mhm.
ourselves, then others. But being able to prioritize your
Mhm.
life in the way you have, but also letting God orchestrate that for you. I think that's why things continue to move in the direction. I know that's why things continue to move the way that they do for you. Excuse me, and will continue to do so, even as God continues to trust you with more. So, any last remarks or anything you would like to say to the wonderful people out there all over the world?
No, I want to thank you, Josh. It's been a long time since I've seen your wonderful face.
Oh, thank
Long time since I've seen your handsome face.
you.
Since I don't know, but it's been some years. I've heard your voice,
Yes.
haven't seen your face, so it was wonderful to see you.
Mhm.
I'm just so proud of you and the things that you have accomplished. I don't know if this is appropriate, but yeah, my heart just is full right now.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for having me here and being able to have a laugh to end my long Friday. And I just hope that people continue to come there. You
Mhm.
are such an inspiration. Whenever I get your text, it makes my day. Even though I don't get to respond quickly, I'm going to catch up sooner or later. But you are truly an inspiration,
Mhm.
really. And I
Thank you.
just appreciate you. I'm glad sometimes God takes life, but for the most part,
Just a
90%
little
of
bit.
the time,
A little
90,
bit.
95% of the time.
well, first of all, thank you for your amazing words. I really appreciate that and take them very much so deeply to my heart. Absolutely. And I want to say to you, thank you for just being bright. Thank you for being bright, even when you thought that you was. No, I'm not talking about your yellow on. I'm talking about your light. See, y'all, I told y'all. But being bright, and what I mean by that is also you have an ability to draw people to you, to know that there's something you have to offer. And I saw that when I was an intern. I saw that, so I'm very. I want to turn this back to you. I'm very proud of all of the work that you have done and continue to do, not only outside of you, but also inside of you. Because one of those things I think I knew we always talked about, I used to tease you about perfectionism and all of those things. And sometimes we don't always feel like we're just satisfied with who we are and what we do, because not only because we're being down or sabotaging ourselves, but because we know that there's more to us. There's more. So I want to thank you for just being so compassionate, loving, empathetic, a person who can be a shoulder and an ear at the same time, someone who is always a forever student, someone who's always looking to see how she can make a change or a difference in the lives of others, or just in things, with your ideas and certain innovations that you're probably still swirling in your head that you haven't tapped into. And also being a person, I believe you're a person who is a surrogate, in a sense, for people, a surrogate to help people bring things, surrogate to help carry things for people, to have and to carry out in their lives, whether that's personally or professionally. And again, what we call that, a midwife, to help other people birth things that are within them, that they're to do. I think you also, I'm going to say this, I'm going to wrap this up, y'all. Y'all give me a second. Y'all know I can't help it sometimes. I'm going to just have to be honest and open, but I also see you as a person who is like Mary, what she did to Elizabeth. By her going to Elizabeth, because of her faith and her rejoicing and things of that nature, when she got around Elizabeth, it caused what was inside of Elizabeth to kick.
Yes.
Here we go, John the Baptist, and we didn't. It's like, hold on, wait a minute. But you're that type of person that when people get around you, it causes things to stir up in them. Maybe that they didn't even know was there, or what it may have been dormant. And it's not because of just because of what you do and what people see, but it's because of who you are. And sometimes we don't really understand the power of our presence when we stand before people and how it brings things out of them, even if you don't ever verbalize it. So it's something I need to say, make sure I wanted to say to you before I dismiss us back out into the Wizard of Oz. But I wanted to definitely say that, and just continue to believe not only in who you are, but also who you're continuing to become each and every day, and everything that you do. So I just wanted to say that to you, ma'am, before we jump out of here. But yes, absolutely. But ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful, blessed, and amazing and favorite episode once again, y'all. I just want to say, y'all, please give it up for Monique Rendles. She is amazing. And now y'all see what I was talking about at the beginning. See, I made a believe out of everybody. I can do that. I'm good. I'm good at persuading people in a positive way. So, so I did it. So you know that now. But without further ado, y'all, I hope that you all have an amazing rest of this evening and also weekend. And again, y'all, make sure you share this as much as possible. We can't be selfish in the way I was telling y'all that's negative. We can't keep this to ourselves now. Share this with your whole family. Share this with your job. Share this with your church. Share this with the whole everybody on your social media. I'm telling you, if you do that, God's gonna bless you. Because if you don't, I'm telling you, your feet gonna hurt for at least 2 days. So let's go ahead and do that, okay? Listen to what I'm saying to you. I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, love to all of you all. Love you very much. Make sure that you're doing the same thing by spreading as much love as possible, because we need it more than ever. And we need unity as more than ever. Dionne Warwick used to always say, she said, what the world needs now. It was a Dionne. Well, Dionne, somebody said, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's not for some, but it's for everyone. So let's make sure we're doing our part in loving ourselves more so that we can love others more. So again, as always, y'all, you've always been great. You're just getting better. Make sure you hold on to that. And I will see you all next Friday. Without further ado, be good to yourself and be good to others. Stay out of trouble. And I'll try to do the same. But, it's still early in the day kind of. So, yeah, I'll try. So y'all have a good one. Talk to y'all. See y'all next Friday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Good night.
Thanks for watching The Inspiration Station with Joshua Lenox. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.